Hey guys, this is Elias with Softly, and today we're gonna import JetEngine Custom Fields directly from Google Sheets using WPO import. Now guys, to get started, let's go here to Google Sheets, click on the Share button, change the general access from restricted to anyone with the link. Alright, copy that link, and go back here to WPO import where we're gonna select download a file from URL, paste our URL here, and click on the download button. Alright, so now we need to decide whether we want to create new items or update existing ones. Now the difference here is that if I had here some other properties that I created manually or something like that, right, I could update those properties using the existing items import. Now I can also create new items with the existing items import if WPO import doesn't find any matching records, right? But we're gonna see that in step 4. For now, let's just stick with the new items import, and this new items import won't allow you to really update any properties that this same import didn't create. So let's move on and select the post type we want to import, which in this case is properties. And we're going to create new properties for each record in this data file. So let's just continue to step 2. And here in step 2, we need to review our import file, right? And compare that to what WPO import is detecting here. Now, WPO import says we have 104 rows and that these here in green letters are the columns that it's detecting. Now let's go here to Google Sheets. Right, and maybe we can select this first column and it will count the number of rows that are populated, and those rows are 105. Now that additional one is this header row. So if I go here to this second row and select all of the records up to the bottom, you can see we have here 104, which is the same number WPO import is detecting, so that's cool. And all of the columns that WPO import is detecting are here too. So it seems like this is good. So let's just continue to step 3. And here in step 3, we can see here on the right our data, and the columns are on the left panel of that layout. And the reason for that is so we can just drag and drop them like so. Cool. So guys, you can think of this like a template for your property. So if I click here on add new post, you can see we have here the title, the description, and here we have the different fields we created using JetEngine, right? So we have a couple of simple text fields. We have this date picker. We have a couple of select fields, right? This one is a simple text. This one is a checkbox field, which will allow you to select multiple values. This is a numbers field, radio, right? These two are radios. Here in this rooms field, we have a repeater field, and this repeater has 3 sub-elements, and you can add as many sub-elements as you want. Then here in the media tab, we have a gallery field and a single image field, which in JetEngine it's called media field, right? And finally, we have this contact tab with 4 more simple text fields, and that's the data we have here. So WPO import will just allow you to drag and drop whatever of these elements you want into whatever field you want that element to go, right? So this is the description, and I have here this description element, right? But I could add also, I don't know, say price here and add my price, and it will work too. You can even add some CSS here. Or change that here in the HTML tab. You can do it as you want, right? Now let's just scroll down a little bit, and here we have the images section. And this images section, it's not what we're gonna use to import this gallery and this floor plan, because those are gonna be in the JetEngine add-on section. So here we're only gonna import the featured image, which is this one right here, right? The standard WordPress feature image. Now I have my image element right here, so I'm gonna drag and drop that. And just a good habit of mine is to instantly, when I drag and drop my element here, just click on the preview and test button, just to make sure that WPO import is able to access these images, right? So that seems to be the case because we have here a loop preview, but let's just run the test and WPL import will attempt to download this image. Now, this attempt to download that image was successful, so that means that WPL import will be able to download and attach our images correctly. So I'm gonna dismiss this and I can sleep easy now knowing that this is gonna work. And these settings, I'm just gonna leave them as they are. The one that I'm most interested in this stage, set the first image to the feature image. If I disable this, well, WPL import won't attach this to the feature image field, right? So I wanna keep that enabled. Now, these other settings, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about them here when we're importing our gallery element. For now, let's just scroll down. I'm gonna skip the custom fields section because all of the custom fields we have created for our properties are coming from JetEngine. So we don't need this. Instead, we need the JetEngine import add-on, which will allow you to have this section here, and here you can enable the different field groups you may have created with JetEngine. So I'm gonna do that, and WPL import will fetch all of those fields instantly, right? So here we have the different fields we saw in our post type, and you can see some of them even behave in a very similar way, right? We have here this checkbox, and you can select multiple values from here. Here you have the date first listed, and you can select a static value from here too. The availability, you can select a value from here. But when you do this, when you use static data like I'm using here, well, this same data, for example, this date, right? This date will be the same date for all 104 properties. And well, maybe we don't want that, but right? Because maybe we do have some elements we need to use. So let's just start dragging and dropping some stuff here, and we're gonna go through all of this stuff in a second. Let's just be done with the map address and short address, which are simple text fields, and they're very much straightforward. There is nothing too special about those, so let's just move on to a more interesting one, which is this date first listed. Now, guys, like I said before, if I select a value from here, WPL import will set up this date first listed to all 104 properties. But I have here this date first listed element, and as you can see, it has a very different date format than the one we're using here, right? But this doesn't matter, guys. You can just go ahead and drag and drop this like so, and WPL import will use the str2time function to translate whatever PHP valid format, which is very flexible, you have in your file to whatever JetEngine is using for your date field, right? And in case you have a super weird date format, you can even use a custom PHP function here. Here is the function editor, and you can write here a function that will translate that super weird date format to something that's readable by PHP, and run that function here on this field. And if you want to know more about how to run PHP functions, you can just go here to our website at wplimport.com, click on the docs menu, and go here to import, custom code, and inline PHP. Here you will know a lot more about how to run PHP functions using WPL import. For this video though, let's just continue because we have a value that's good for PHP. So WPL import will translate that to be used by JetEngine. And here in the availability field, again, we can select the value from here. But if we wanted to drag and drop a value, we couldn't do it like this because there is not a field, right? So the way we fix that is using this option that says set with XPath. Now, guys, if you do know what XPath is, then you know you can do all sorts of crazy stuff here, right? But if you don't know what XPath is, just don't worry about it. It just means that you can drag and drop a element like so, and it will import the values dynamically, right? So this first record has on market, and maybe this second one doesn't have market. Maybe this one has sold or whatever, right? So it will attach each one of the values of the properties to the right record. Now we're going to do the same for the listing type. I'm going to set this with XPath and drag and drop the value. Then I'm going to drag and drop the price. And here for the amenities, I'm going to do the same. But here for the amenities, guys, if you hover on the question mark, it usually gives you a lot more details about how to do X or Y, or how certain options works or whatever. And in this case, if we wanted to import multiple values, which we do for the checkbox, right? Remember, this is a checkbox. We will need to separate those values with a comma, right? So this is not what we have here, and this can be a slight issue for some folks, because maybe they're not familiar with PHP, because with PHP you can write a quick PHP function, so function, and let's say replace pipes, and write your function. It's very simple if you know how to do it, right? It's just return str replace. And I'm gonna look for my pipes, and I'm gonna change those with a comma in the data element. Let's just save this, right? Copy the name of this function, and we can go here to our amenities field, open a square bracket, paste the name of our function, open a parenthesis, drag and drop the element we want to run this function on here, close the parentheses, close the brackets, and boom, that's it. Now, if you want to test this, copy that, go here to the main content area, right? Paste it here, and boom, guys, that's it. You can hit preview, and there you go. We have changed all of our pipes into commas. So that's pretty neat. Now, I'm gonna just go back here to the way it was. And since I know this is working, I'm gonna leave it like that. And this is just, guys, so I can show you that you can modify your data if maybe you don't have it in your import file the way your thing needs it. Or in this case, maybe JetEngine, right? You can do all sorts of crazy stuff with PHP. And we have great documentation and a lot of cases you can even use. For example, here in the developer section, right? You can go here to code snippets. And we have here a lot of cases. So for example, say you need to send an email after the import is complete, right? So here is a use case, which is very useful. So you click on it, and it will take you to a code snippet that you can just copy here and modify to use in your import, right? This is a great way to learn, guys. So moving on, we have these square feet elements. I'm gonna drag and drop that here. And then for the bathrooms and bedrooms, I'm going to do the same, set with XPath, drag and drop, and boom, that's it. Now, guys, here we have something very interesting, which is the rooms repeater. Now, WP All Import will allow you to import this in one of two ways. The first one is the fixed way, and you can add as many rows as you need. For example, say you only have 2 different rooms per property, right? So you add 2 rows here, and drag and drop the name 1, the measurement 1, and description 1, and the name 2, measurement 2, and description 2 here. And WP All Import will create here, right, 2 sub elements, and that's it. Import that data. But this is not what we have here. Let me delete this real quick. All right, and we're gonna select variable CSV. Now you can see here we have variable XML, but this is just for XML files. Now this variable CSV, it's more like a variable spreadsheet, more like it, right? Because you can use this variable CSV with Google Sheets files, with CSV files, with Excel files, with OneDrive files, and pretty much anything that has a spreadsheet-like format. So the way this works is the following. You can see here we have room's name, room's measurement, and room's description. And you can see we have here a lot of values separated with pipes. So this is the first value, which is entrance hallway. And here we have the first measurement and the first description, which is here. Now this kitchen diner is the second element, right? And living room is the third one, and so on and so forth here. So why this is variable, guys? Because here we have only 3 rooms. And if I click on the arrow to see the next record, you can see here we have a lot more, like what, 6, 7 rooms. So this is a variable number of repeater elements per property. And that's why we need to use this variable CSV. And the way this works is, let's drag and drop the name here, right? The measurement is going to be here, and the description is going to be here. And if I hover on this ignore blank fields question mark, you can see it says if the value of the element or column in your file is blank, it will be ignored. Use this option when some records in your file have a different number of repeating elements than others. Now this is our case, so I'm gonna enable that, and I'm gonna make sure that the separator character is the one we're using, because that's what WPL import it's gonna use to separate the different sub-repeaters, right? Now this is looking good, so I'm gonna continue, and here we have the gallery field, which is right here. So I'm gonna drag and drop that, and I'm gonna zoom in to see what separator we're using for these images. So the one we're using is this pipe, right? So I'm gonna set that up here too. Pipe, it's good. And I'm gonna enable this option that says search through the media library for existing images before importing new images. And guys, what this does is, well, basically what it says it's gonna do, it's gonna look for existing images when WPL import it's about to download an image. So if WPL import finds an image that already exists in our site, it won't download that image again and create a duplicate of that image. No, instead, it will use the image that already exists. And guys, this is not mandatory, but I like this option very much because it will prevent you from downloading a bunch of duplicates and maybe clutter your website and whatnot. So you can match that by URL or file name. That's up to you. I'm going to choose URL, and I'm going to do the same for the floor plan, right? And finally here we have the agent name, the phone, the email, and the link for more details. And with this, we have everything we need in the JetEngine add-on section, guys. So let's just continue. We have here this taxonomies section. So I'm going to enable the tenure, which is down here, right? And for the property of the week, we have a slight issue because this one has a 1 as a value, and this other one has a 0. So it's using a binary system to say whether the property is a property of the week or not. So we have here these values, which are yes and no. And this is another case where, like I said before, you may have a different format in your file than what you need in your site, right? So you can, of course, create a quick PHP function. Maybe you can use switch to iterate through different cases and return whatever you would like. But for taxonomies, you could just enable this mapping for property of the week, right? And you say here in your file, I have a 1, and I want that 1 to be translated to yes, right? And if I have 0 in my file, right, I want that to be translated to no, right? So you can add as many rules as you want, and this is pretty cool. So with this, we have fixed our property of the week issue. So let's just continue. We have this function, and yeah, that's gonna work. Let's just continue to step 4. And here in step 4, we need to choose a unique identifier. And guys, this is important because WPL import needs a way to tell one record apart from the other. Now, what you want with this is some value or combination of values that's truly unique, because maybe you drag and drop here the property name, but there may be 2 different properties that, I don't know, are called the same for whatever reason, right? And if that happens, WPL import will think it's the same property and will update the first one with the data of the second one, and so on and so forth. And we don't want that, right? So maybe we can add here a dash, and we can add the square feet, because although there may be 2 different properties with the same name, it's gonna be very tough that they are exactly the same size, right? So, but if maybe some miracle happens and there are 2 properties that have the same name and the same square feet value, you can add other elements, say, for example, the number of bathrooms, right? To add more complexity to that. But guys, if you don't want to overthink this too much, you can always just click on the auto detect button and WPL import will choose the right one for you. Now, moving on, these settings are, well, pretty much self-explanatory. You can hover on the question mark if you have some doubts. We have here a great video on how to use this remove or modify properties that are no longer present in this import file feature. And this is pretty cool. I encourage you guys to watch it. If you maybe need to run this import multiple times with maybe some modifications, because what's cool about using WPL import with Google Sheets or maybe with a field is that if I go ahead and delete these records, right, the next time that WPL import runs, it will have the latest copy of the file, right? So if we deleted 5 properties there, we won't have here 104 properties. We will have 99. So this is useful because you can choose to remove those properties automatically, right? Just enable this option, select whether you want to target only the properties that were created by this import or all of the properties in your site. And here you can even set up custom fields. Maybe you can select the availability field to maybe sold, right? Or maybe you can just go ahead and straight up delete those properties and their images, right? It's up to you guys. But again, we have great videos on this, and well, yeah, just hover on the question marks and you will know what to do. Now for the scheduling options, we have 2 options. And the first one is the automatic scheduling service, and this is a paid service, guys. And you can here, for example, say you need to update this on a weekly basis or maybe daily, right? You can enable all of these days and set up a time here, say 12 a.m., and WPL import will run this import with whatever elements you have here in your Google Sheets file or your feed or whatever, and will do whatever you set that up here, right? So that's pretty cool. But you don't need to subscribe to this. If you don't want to, you can also use cron jobs, which are free, just a little bit more technical. And we do have other documentation on this. You can click on that link and it will take you to our docs on how to run cron jobs. Now, guys, if you're feeling a little bit lost with this or with anything we just went through, you can always just contact our support team and we will be more than happy to help you out. For now, let's just continue and run this. And this is going to take a minute or 2. So I'm going to pause the video here and come back when it's ready. All right, guys. So WPL import says it's finished importing our data. So let's see if that's true by going here to all properties. And there you go, guys. We have 104 properties imported, which is great because this is the number of properties we expected. Now let's take a peek here in the front end where we have this beautiful website. And there you go, guys. Here are our properties. Now let's open some of this. Let's open this one up, right? See what's going on here. Now we have our gallery, which is always a good sign because that means WPL import was able to download all of our images. All right. Now we have here our title, the price, the short address, the number of beds, baths, and square feet, the availability, listing type, address with the little map here, the description with the static data we place, the amenities, and the rooms repeater is looking good too, with the contact info here. So let's take a peek in the edit post page, title, description, the different taxonomies with the mapping working, as you can see here, feature image, and here is our data with the different amenities, the different repeaters, and here in the media tab we have our gallery, or floor plan, and in the contact info or 4 simple text fields. So there you have it, folks. That's it. That's how you import JetEngine Custom Fields using WPL import and the JetEngine import add-on. Now, guys, if you want to know more about how to import or even export other JetEngine data, or if you're using maybe Metabox or ACF to handle your custom fields, or I don't know, perhaps you need to import or export other WooCommerce products or WordPress data and whatever, just check out the other videos in our channel. Check out our website at wplimport.com. And for now, just thank you for watching and see you next time.